Well, we use music in a number of ways for young children to learn. One is we use it as a device for retention. So the ABCs is really about learning these symbols that are connected to letters. So you remember them because you're singing, them. So, and we use that for other concepts as well. So there's that. In addition, when kids are singing about something, they're incorporating their kinesthetic intelligence. Even just by singing, there's kinesthetic, but also when you're incorporating movement. It also helps them to be creative. And there is significant research that says when we create creatively what we know, it's the highest order of learning. In Bloom's taxonomy, it's sort of retention is down at the bottom, and then analysis and interpretation. So up at the top is creativity. So the ability to create something based on what you know is the highest order of thinking and the highest order of understanding. So moving kids to that, even if it's just, like I say, in small words and concepts, is so much better than just parroting back an idea or a phrase.
Wow.
I think so, because, when we're singing together, it's a joint experience. We're really, much more than storytelling even, it's an ensemble. If we're really genuinely singing together, we're just singing together, We're all sort of equal. Some of us are louder, some of us are off key, whatever, but we're all sort of in this together. And so I think singing together, it's been used for thousands of years to reinforce a sense of community and unity. We sing together, and in the civil rights movement, people sang together to gain a sense of unity, or people who were, rowing in the Roman longboats, or dragging the stones for the pyramids. People sang because it builds a sense of unity. Pizzi used to say that when we sing together, we're breathing in unison. And I like this sort of idea, like we're all in this rhythm, because there is also a kind of a rhythmic alignment that happens when we're singing together. And you think about like groups that don't just sing, a song 5 minutes here and there, but who sing for like 2 hours together. That's an incredible way to feel aligned with people, even people that you might not agree with in different kinds of ways. It does break down the barriers. Well, when I started doing this, I'm a learner, that's like who I am. So I started gravitating towards places that talked about more than just singing with kids. And I say this because there are musicians who sing with kids, and that's just what they do, right? And I think that's great. We need a lot of that. They're not necessarily thinking about the bigger picture, and I'm more of a big picture. So, I was drawn to trainings where people would talk about how the brain worked, trainings where people would talk about different musical approaches, sort of the educational language, things like differentiation and assessment and evaluation, and all these sorts of educational things, because I work with the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., and they have a focus on being able to speak on both sides of the line, to talk about music, art form, but also to talk about what are the implications educationally. What are people talking about from the classroom side, and that was important to me. If I was going to be in schools, I wanted to have an intelligent conversation with teachers about what they had to deal with.
Right.
Standards, and how do you move from, standards to objectives to goals, those kinds of things. And I think that when you hang out with teachers of young children, like they sing with kids. It's just one of those givens.
It's part of the classroom.
But they don't, and by the time you get to 3rd or 4th grade, that's usually dropped off, except in exceptional teachers. But they may not know why they're doing it, except they know that it works. What I always hope for simply is that people incorporate, whether it's story or song, into their practice more deeply. That's all. I don't care very much what they understand. What I care about is what they do. So if they sing a little more, if they take some of these songs and sing a little more, create a little more, or use more facial expression when they're reading a book, that's great. And people, they come to these things and they're looking for ideas, but it's hard to incorporate them without some practice and some feedback and expectations and those kinds of things. So it's always a big question for those of us who do professional development. How do you really change practice? You know, you come to this, and you know, people are enjoying it, right? They have a good time, and they're not just sitting there, not just reading from a PowerPoint. You know, it's like it's an interesting workshop, right? How much difference does that make in what they'll do on Monday? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what I do know is that people change when they have ongoing exposure and expectations to different approaches. So if I were to say, I'll see you here next Saturday, and I'm going to meet with each of you and ask you how it went when you told stories this week, that'd be a very different outcome.
Right.
Than, hope you have fun telling stories, you know, right? So I believe that's, but I